Have you wondered how much water is used when your electricity is made? You and I have an insatiable appetite for electricity. Come with me and we'll look at the issues relative to wind farms and the communities that they serve. This is the Windfarm Guy. Hi, this is Dennis Stout, and thank you for joining me for this episode of the Windfarm Guy. Today we're considering the water that is used by a wind farm and how does it stack up to other forms of electricity generation. First of all, let me say it's kind of difficult to get consistent information regarding the water usage for electricity generation. You can go online, you can find all sorts of stuff, but they're going to be incomplete. They're going to be, they measure things differently, and so it's just because of that, the information in this video I consider kind of incomplete, but the gist of things is accurate. Having said all of that, almost 90% of the electricity that we generate here in the United States is generated through a thermoelectric power plant. And what that means is they use some fuel source to generate heat, to boil water, to create steam that turns a turbine that turns an electric generator. 43% of the power plants use a once-through system for the water, and what that means is they take water, say out of a river, they use it in the power plant and they put it back in the river. And the other 57% is either a closed cycle, which is kind of similar. You've seen a power plant next to a lake and they take water out of this end of the lake and use it and then put it back in that end, and then it kind of cycles back through and comes back in, and so that's a closed cycle. And so the other 50% is either that closed cycle or a dry cooled, which is air cooled. Here's an interesting figure. 41% of our total electric usage and the electricity that's generated here in the United States, 41% is for thermoelectric power plants. Let that soak in. Between 1/3 and 1/2 of the water that is used in the United States is for thermoelectric power plants, for the electricity that you and I consume. 96% of thermoelectric power plants use that once-through system. And the reason that's important is the water that leaves a once-through system it can be about 20 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than the water that came into the power plant. And so the water that's leaving that power plant can be as high as 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And that change in temperature can be devastating to the aquatic ecosystems. Now there's some other systems, cooling towers, for example. Let me give you some numbers there. The cooling towers for a nuclear power plant, they consume about 1,100 gallons of water per megawatt. A coal power plant uses about 1,000 gallons per megawatt. Concentrated solar uses about 900 gallons per megawatt. Biomass is nearly 900 gallons per megawatt. Natural gas, 250 gallons per megawatt. And geothermal uses a mere 15 gallons of water per megawatt. Now hydro, that's like a dam that holds back the water, and they have the turbines inside the dam. Of course, everything they do is in relation to water. They use a lot of water, 4,500 gallons per megawatt, but they're not damaged. I mean, the water is just passing through. It's turning the generators. But the concern there are, you know, the fish and any of the, especially the migratory, like salmon, and so that is a concern. There's also tidal systems and wave systems. As the tide comes and goes, that there's a lot of energy there, and they're trying to tap into that. And waves, as the waves move up and down, they're moving different pieces of equipment that generate electricity. Those are some new things, and of course, obviously they need water for those to work, but they are very passive. Photovoltaic solar uses water in the manufacturing process and also in cleaning the panels, because if they're not clean, they're not very efficient. But one thing you need to realize is all forms of electricity generation uses water for the concrete, for foundations and whatever things, other things that they use concrete for. You know, I would love to see an unbiased study across all electricity generating forms, because it's the internet. It's hard to find a good, consistent information about that, and so I would love to see an unbiased study, including the mining, production, and refining of the fuel that's needed to transport the other fuel for the power plant. You know, the fuel that's needed to transport the, you know, I don't know, the coal or whatever to that power plant. And if you know of a study where that is very consistent and covers all of that, please leave me a comment, let me know, because I'd really like to see that and get that information. If you like the information that I've shared with you today, please hit like and subscribe so that you get future videos. Honestly, we need to reduce our personal footprint of electricity and therefore the ultimate consumption of electricity. Wind farms are one of the best means of generating electricity, especially in relation to water usage. This is Dennis Stout, and I'm the Windfarm Guy. Thank you for watching. Working together, we can make good energy decisions and save our planet. I am the Windfarm Guy.